So this is part 2 of Chapter 17 walkthroughs for week 3. You're going to find the Word document for this video in the week 3 questions thread under the week 3 note post, okay? Or my notes post. So last time we left off at roundworms. At least that's what I think we left off at, so hopefully I'm right. So roundworms are part of Nematoda. They get their common name from their cylindrical body, which is tapered at both ends. Roundworms are the most diverse in species number and widespread of animals. So really, really common. Free-living roundworms are in the soil, are important in decomposers. So basically all the dirt that you're on is roundworm poop. Single rotting apple may contain 90,000 nematodes. An acre of topsoil contains billions. Other species of nematodes are major agricultural pests and attack the roots of plants. At least 50 parasitic roundworm species infect humans, including pinworms, hookworms, and parasite that cause trichinosis. And then there's a link for you to look at roundworms. So they're really very, very common one, and they saw that bilateral symmetry, right? And obviously the column. So let's go over to arthropods. Next phylum, phylum Arthropoda, are named for their jointed appendages. Crustaceans like crabs and lobsters, arachnids, spiders and scorpions, and insects such as grasshoppers and moths are example of an arthropod. So mostly they're bugs and some other stuff. The body of an arthropod is completely covered by an exoskeleton. So we haven't developed an internal skeleton, but now we have an exoskeleton, which is an external skeleton. Think about any of those robots that people put in, they call them exoskeletons, same concept. So, most arachnids live on land. So this is a new one, it seems like. Scorpions, spiders, ticks, and mites are all examples. Crustaceans are nearly all aquatic. So those are crabs, lobsters, crayfish, shrimps, and barnacles, right? Millipedes and centipedes have similar segments over most of the body and superficially resemble annelids, but their jointed limbs, so they got those joints, reveal they're arthropods. So our big change is that we have the joints now. Most insects have 3-part body plans. So remember before we're just kind of one or a repeated segment. Now we have 3 divisions in our body. They have a head, a thorax, and an abdomen. Thomas Eisner puts it, bugs are not going to inherit the earth, they own it now. So we might as well make peace with the landlord. So there's way more insects than just about anything else except for our roundworms, right? So with our bugs, there's a checkpoint. Now let's move on to echinoderms. So what's going to be different with echinodermata? So echinoderms are named for their spiny surfaces. Think of like a sea urchin. Among echinoderms are sea stars. They got little spines on them, sort of. Little, maybe not necessarily spines, but protrusions. Sea urchins, sea cucumbers. Okay, so sea cucumbers, I don't really see spines. They're bumpy. They kind of look like cucumbers, but okay. And sand dollars. There's a link so you can see a picture. Most echinoderms have an endoskeleton. So finally, we got internal skeleton now. Constructed from hard plates just beneath the skin. So they're not really the skeleton that we have, but something closer. Unique to echinoderms is the water vascular system. This is a network of water-filled canals that circulate water throughout the echinoderm's body, facilitating gas exchange, the entry of O2, the removal of CO2, and waste disposal. So this would, if you did a report on echinoderms, you definitely want to talk about the water vascular system. So let's go down. So finally, chordates. Humans are part of chordata. So chordates share 4 key features that appear in the embryo and sometimes in the adult. The 4 chordate hallmarks are a dorsal hollow nerve cord, a notochord, which is a flexible longitudinal rod located between the digestive tract and the nerve cord, pharyngeal slits, which are grooves in the pharynx, the region of the digestive tube just behind the mouth, and a post-anal tail, which is a tail in the layer of the anus. So we've gotten rid of our tail, but we still have the tailbone. Though these chordate characteristics are often difficult to recognize in the adult animal, they are always present in the chordate embryo. So that's a big thing. You may not see it later on, but it is there in the embryonic development. For example, the notochord, for which our phylum is named, persists in adult humans only in the form of cartilage discs that function as cushions between the vertebrae. Back injuries described as ruptured discs or slip discs refer to these structures. Oops. Apparently I'm not doing enough. And apparently... Okay, my computer's decided to be back under control. So let's scroll down. Scrolling. The first vertebrates were aquatic, which makes sense, right? Because pretty much everybody developed in the ocean. That's why the ocean has so much diversity among when people developed, who went back to the ocean, who developed later. It's really crazy with all the water stuff. While land is a little bit more logical. Probably evolved during the early Cambrian period, about 542 million years ago. I feel like we're always talking about the Cambrian. In contrast with most other vertebrates, they lacked jaws, hinged bone structures that worked the mouth. Two types of jawless fishes survive today, hagfishes and lampreys. Lampreys, right? Big issue with the dam up north in Canada, which I'm going to think of later. It's the Great Lake. Is it Superior Dam? That's going to drive me crazy. Look it up. As noted earlier, hagfishes are invertebrates but have a cranium. Present-day hagfishes scavenge dead or dying animals on the cold, dark seafloor. When threatened, a hagfish exudes an enormous amount of slime from special glands on the side of its body. It's really nasty looking. Recently, hagfishes have become endangered because their skin is used to make eel skin belts, purses, and boots. Unlike hagfishes, lampreys are vertebrates. Some lampreys are parasites that use their jawless mouths as suckers to attach to the sides of the large fish and draw blood. I think it's the St. Lawrence Seaway. See, I'm going to remember things. It's awesome. Let's scroll down. Cartilaginous fish. So these are ones of cartilage. So we evolved, like the lampreys had the cranium and the backbone. Now we got cartilaginous fishes. These are sharks and rays that have a flexible skeleton made of cartilage, like your nose. Most sharks are adept predators because they are fast swimmers with streamlined bodies, acute senses, and powerful jaws. A shark does not have keen eyesight, but its sense of smell is very sharp. In addition, special electrosensors on the head can detect minute electrical fields produced by muscle. Scroll down. Contractions and muscle contractions in nearby animals. Sharks also have a lateral line system. This is a row of sensory organs running along each side of the body. It's sensitive to changes in water pressure. The lateral line enables the shark to detect minor vibrations caused by animals swimming in its neighborhood. There are about 750 species. So now we have a cartilaginous or a cartilage skeleton. Excuse me. Let's scroll down. Bony fishes. Bony fishes are skeletons reinforced by calcium. They also have a lateral line system, a keen sense of smell, and excellent eyesight. On each side of the head, the protective flap called the operculum, or the opercula, covers a chamber housing the gills, a feathery external organs that extract oxygen from water. Movement of the operculum allows the fish to breathe without swimming. So they can stand still, float still, and still be able to survive. And they've got the skeleton now. The swim bladder, another thing that makes them more complex, let's not say evolved, is a glass-filled sac. And this is how bony fishes can conserve energy by remaining almost motionless, while sharks have to constantly move or they'll sink. Let's scroll down. Most bony fishes, including trout, bass, perch, and tuna, are ray-finned fishes. Their fins are supported by thin, flexible skeletal rays. A second evolutionary branch includes lobe-limbed fishes. Lobe fins are named for their muscular fins supported by stout bones. One lineage of lobe fishes is the lungfish, which survives today in the southern hemisphere. Lungfishes inhabit stagnant ponds and swamps, surfacing to gulp air into their lungs. A second lineage of lobe-finned fishes is represented today by the coelacanth. We love the coelacanth, a deep sea dweller that was believed to be extinct for millions of years before being rediscovered in 1938. That's why we love it. So both of those are very interesting. If you get a chance, check out the links, see what they look like. I wish I could include pictures for all of the stuff in here, but oh my goodness, that would make the notes so big that we would take them in 16 parts or something crazy. So amphibians exhibit a mixture of aquatic and terrestrial adaptations. So we're definitely out of the water. Most species are tied to the water because of their eggs lacking shells dry out quickly in the air. So still have external eggs. A frog may spend much of its time on land, but it lays its eggs in water. An egg develops into a larva called a tadpole. Remember, we got that dimorphism between the baby and the adult versions. And a tadpole is legless, aquatic, algae eater with gills. A lateral line system resembling that of fishes and a long finned tail. In changing into a frog, the tadpole undergoes a radical metamorphosis. And there's a picture in the book. When a young frog crawls onto shore, it begins life as a terrestrial insect eater. It has 4 legs, air-breathing lungs instead of gills, external eardrums, and no lateral line system. Let's scroll down to our reptiles. Reptiles, including birds, because birds evolved from dinosaurs, and mammals are amniotes. The evolution of an amniote is from an amphibian ancestor, including many adaptations for living on land. Because you think about all the stuff that lives in water at this time period, if there's not that much stuff living on land to kill you off, you definitely prefer to have your babies on land than in the water. The adaptation that gives the group its name is the amniotic egg. So it's got that fluid-filled egg inside of which the embryo develops. So you don't have to have them underwater now, you can have them up in the air. The amniotic egg functions as a self-contained pond that enables amniotes to complete their life cycle on land. The reptiles, including snakes, lizards, turtles, crocodiles, alligators, and birds, along with a number of extinct groups, including most of the dinosaurs. So that's all reptiles, right? Or reptilia. Reptiles do not regulate body temperature, but largely through behavioral adaptation. For example, many lizards regulate their internal temperature by basking in the sun when the air is cool and seeking shade when the air is too warm. Because lizards and other non-bird reptiles absorb external heat rather than generating much of their own, they are said to be ectotherms. And we're not going to use warm and cold-blooded because those aren't very specific. Ectotherm is the more accurate term. By heating directly with solar energy rather than through the metabolic breakdown of food, a non-bird reptile can survive on less than 10% of the calories required by a mammal of the equivalent size. So they're able to survive and not have to eat so much food, to spend so much time doing that stuff. I think we're going to break with part 2 here, and we will continue with birds and into humans in part 3. I hope this is helping.